Welcome, swim fans, to the Rochester Centre Natatorium. In tonight's dual meet, the Panthers will host the Albert Lea Tigers. Albert Lea is one of the smaller programs in the Big Nine Conference, and so we will see fewer swimmers and fewer heats than in past meets. Albert Lea came very close to winning its last dual meet in a 2-point loss against Tri-City. The Tigers are winless in 5 meets. Century continued its 4-year dual win streak last Thursday with a big win against crosstown rival Mayo and comes in with a record of 5-0. Century will now have an amazing 39 dual meet win streak. They also have a 40-win home win streak that goes back over 8 seasons. Tonight will feature a lot of changes for the Panthers and will give swimmers a chance to swim different events. After over half the season being over, this is a good opportunity for swimmers to get times in events that they maybe haven't swam yet this year. Looking at Albert Lea's lineup, they lost their top swimmer from last year, Haley Deming. Haley was a top 4 finisher in both Big Nine and section events. They are now led by a number of underclassmen who are looking to improve. That group will be led by sophomore Emily Troster. She is the only returning section finalist for Albert Lea, as she was in the B final in both Big Nine and the sections for the 2IM and the 100 fly. Joining her is another sophomore, Lily Elmer. Lily's top event is the 50 free, and she also swam in multiple relays at sections. The other varsity swimmer that is a sophomore this evening for Albert Lea will be Elizabeth Rule. Other swimmers who competed at sections in Big Nine last year for Albert Lea are Olivia Bell, freshman, Amaya Larson, freshman, and Lexi Lee, freshman. And their varsity team will be rounded out by a couple of newcomers, 7th graders, Hattie Larson and Indiana Hansen. As we look to the matchups of this evening, here is a quick preview for tonight's events. Starting off with the medley relay, Century will be featuring its top group, but in a pretty different order. Chloe Magnuson will be leading off doing the backstroke. Sarah Hami will be doing the breaststroke. Allie Poole will be doing the butterfly. And Sophie Blix will be anchoring in the freestyle. They currently have the top time in the Big Nine. Posing them from Albert Lea will be Amaya Larson, Lily Elmer, Emily Troster, and Hattie Larson. That group, out of 12 teams in the Big Nine, currently has the 9th fastest time. We then move to the 200-yard freestyle. The top swimmer for Century will be Giant Gingros. Giant has not swam this event this year, and she will be joined by Amelia Hammer and Anna Milosevic. Countering for Albert Lea will be Olivia Bell, Lexi Lee, and Shannon Kim. The top swimmer for Century, Jayan, isn't seated in this event, but to give you an idea of their top finishes, Jayan is currently ranked 4th in her best event, the 100 back. We then move to the 200-yard IM. This will not feature a full lane of pools. Emily Troster is the only swimmer for Albert Lea. She does come in with a time of 2:40, just outside the top 20. She will be swimming against Carly Maley, Chloe Magnuson, and Addie Crom. Carly has a 12th best time in the 50 free so far this year. Chloe is the top seed in the Big Nine, currently with the 50 free. And Addie Crom normally swims the 2 free, and she's got the 6th fastest time in that event after the first half of the season. We then move to the 50 free. Top swimmer for Century will be Allie Poole. Again, Allie's swimming a different event than she normally does. Her top event is a 2 free, of which she is seated 2nd. Another good 2 freestyler for the Panthers is Kenzie Brockman. The freshman is seated 5th currently in the Big Nine in that event, and she will also be swimming the 50 free, along with Delia Wagstaff and Quinn Barone. Delia's best event is the 100 back. She's seated 11th in that event. And Quinn's best event is the 200 IM, where she's seated 3rd. They will be lined up against Hattie Larson, Lily Elmer, who's the top sprinter for Albert Lea, and Elizabeth Rule. We do not have any Albert Lea divers. So the varsity divers this evening will be Lily McGuire, Ariana Kruger, and Kendall Langenberger. Joining them from the JV will be Nora Jensen, Kate Kruger, Paige Connors, and for the first time in her swimming career, Sarah Hami will be also diving. If you dive, you can do one less event for the swimming and the relays. So Sarah's using one of her events this evening on diving. We then move to the 100-yard butterfly. Top swimmer for Century will be Sophie Blix. She is the top seed in the Big Nine in this event. Joining her from Century will be Delia Wagstaff. Delia is seated 15th, and Addie Crom. Addie seated 12th. This is also the best event for Emily Troster. She had a top 11 finish last year and is currently just outside the top 20 in the Big Nine. Also swimming the butterfly for varsity will be Amelia Braun. We then move to the 100-yard freestyle. That will be top swimmer for Century, Allie Poole. Allie's other best event is the 500 free, and she is currently the top time in the Big Nine in that event. Just like in the 50, she'll be joined by Kenzie Brockman. Kenzie's other 500 free event, she's seated second in. And joining them in the 100 free will also be Ada Ekholm. Ada's best event is the 100 fly, where she's currently seated 20th. For Albert Lee in the 100 free, we will have Indiana Hansen, Lily Elmer, and Olivia Bell. We then move to the 200-yard freestyle. Century again has the top time in the Big Nine, and they will have Allie Poole, Sarah Hami, Carly Maley, and Chloe Magnuson swimming against Emily Troster, Lexi Lee, Lily Elmer, and Amaya Larson. We then move to the 100 back. That will feature Sarah Hami, Chloe Magnuson, and Carly Maley. Sarah's best event so far this year has been the 100 breast, where she's currently seated 7th. Chloe's other event, besides the 50 free, has been the 100 fly, where she's seated 5th. And Carly's next best event is the 100 free, where she's currently seated 12th. There are no Albert Lee backstrokers, nor are there any breaststrokers for Albert Lee, so the 100-yard breaststroke will be Stella Morris, Lizzie Jensen, Katie Dow, and Anna Milosevic. None of these swimmers have swam the 100 breast for varsity, so it'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top. We will finish the meet with the 400-yard freestyle. That will have Diane Gingros, Kenzie Brockman, Addie Crom, and Sophie Blixt swimming against Amaya Larson, Lexi Lee, Olivia Bell, and Hattie Larson. So with those previews over, enjoy the meet, root for your favorite swimmers. They can hear you when you're cheering. We will start the meet in approximately 8 minutes.
Right. Yeah. So. They would run over there. I know a guy don't do. What's that? Well, there's nothing on there. There's nothing on there. There it is. That's in there. That's what I was watching. Over down here. Like, what is this? Oh, that's over down here. There's still like a time up there. It's like, wait a minute. I don't know. Like, you never come in here and it's turned off. When we thought about it, that this is not turned on. Yep. That makes sense. Yeah. Clock up there and it's running the clock. Right. Practice. Oh, I figured that out.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Century Natatorium, where we are going to witness an exciting swimming event with the Century Panthers and the Elderly Tigers. Okay, that was really uninspiring. So, trying to be more inspired. The Elderly Tigers are coached by Hannah Anderson 6 is Century, and lane 8 is Century. Swimming in lane 2 for Century is St.
And we're off at event number 1, the girls 200-yard medley JV. With the smaller team, Elberly will have very few entrants in the JV event, so it's going to be Century against Century. And lane 4, Addie Taylor, is ahead of her teammates, Mia Velocevic, Brycelyn Gladys, and Summer Wong. The breaststroke length will now be Katie Dow swimming against Cora Erickson, Evelyn Arnold Patterson, and Karina Brenes Votto. We're going to see Katie again in the 100 breast for the varsity. She looks like she's set a pretty nice tempo. Let's see what kind of split she has. 42.09. Now give way to Bodie Funk. And for the B-Relay, Layla Hubert. Up in lane 2 is going to be Amelia Hanna. And down in lane 8 is Matilda Hammer. And swimming anchor for the JVA relay will be Keaton Shonoff. And it looks like the C relay, nice finish for Amelia Hanna. Is going to give it to Nora Crick. Nora is going to swim against Olivia Cornelius. So we got a nice battle in lanes 2 and 6. Also in lane 8 is Elizabeth Morcom. And it's going to be Nora over Olivia for the second place. And we're off at event 2, girls varsity 200 medley relay. I think this is the first time I've seen Chloe Magnuson read off this relay. So it's really nice to see a little bit of mixing up the lineups. Also for Century is Paige Pendle and Chloe Vesterby and Emma Wu. For Albert Lee, it'll be Amaya Larson and Sophie Troster. So with a 30-30 split, now in the water for the A relay is going to be Sarah Hami. B relay is going to be Kenzie Brockman. C relay is Kenzie Craddock. And the D relay is Julia Wong. Swimming for Albert Lee now is Lily Elmer and Ava Bell. So Sarah's looked really strong in the 100 breaststroke so far this year. See sort of a split. And a nice 32.61. That's probably the second fastest split on the team behind Sophie Blixt. Now swimming for the A relay is Allie Poole. She's followed by Delia Wagstaff, then Carly Bailey, and Ada Ekholm. Countering for Albert Lee is Amelia Troster and Elizabeth Rule. So Allie's going to finish up her leg in a very tidy 28.71 and give way to Sophie. Also for Century will be swimming Quinn Barone, Megan Hami, and Josie Barkfree. Finishing up for Albert Lee will be Hattie Larson and Indiana Hansen. So here comes Sophie to finish off this relay. 24.81 for a 156.43. So it's going to be a clean sweep for Century, first, second, third, and fourth.
Second place is Century, and first place with one time of 2:19.63 for Century, Taylor, Dowd, Funk, and Showdown. Up next is an event for three, the junior race on Australia freestyle. Swimming in lane 2 for Century's got to be 3 for Albert Lee is Alondra Rojas Lazaro. Lane 4 for Century is Jake Martin. Lane 5 for Albert Lee is London Becker. Lane 6 for Century's Nancy Grants.
And we're off with the event 3, girls 200-yard free JV. We do have two entrants from Albert Lee, Alondra de Rosas Lazaro and London Blecker. Leading us in lane 6 is going to be Century's Lexi Grenz. Lexi comes in with a time of 2:18. Her teammate, Jada Kronig, in a 2:22. And then Kyla Mead with a 2:47. Lexi makes the turn. 106.49. That's going to be real close to that 2:18 final mark as she hits the halfway point. No change in the standings. It's still Lexi, then Jada, Kyla, followed by London and Alondra. Well, Lexi's going to have to hurry a bit in this last 50. She wants to beat her seed time of a 2:18. And Lexi finishes in a 2:19.81, followed by teammates Jada and Kyla. With the event number 4, girls 200 yard free varsity. We've got some of the top swimmers for Albert Lee. So this might be a pretty good race because they're swimming against some swimmers who haven't swam the 200 very much for Century. And leading us out in lane 6 is going to be Anna Milosevic. She's going to be followed by teammates Diane Gingros and Shannon Kim, as well as Amelia Hammer. And very close behind them is Olivia Bell and Lexi Lee. So Anna has been one of the top JV swimmers for Century for the past 3 years. She's put in some incredibly strong performances and performances that on other teams would definitely make her one of the top swimmers, and is really a testament to the depth of this Century team. She's going to touch after 2 lengths at a 104. That puts her pretty safely ahead of her coming in time of a 2:19. It's still Century in the top 4 spots. Diane continues to maintain a slight lead over Amelia and Shannon. And still in the mix is Olivia and Lexi. Century has 4 swimmers in this event, but only 3 can score. So lanes 1 and 8 are swum exhibition, which is to say the times that they do before the event scoring. Last 50, a push from Diane. strong kick. Pretty good pace. It's going to be close. Can Anna hold on wire to wire? And it looks like yes. She will hold on in a 2:15. Diane followed by Amelia. And it's going to be Olivia that out touches Lexi for 4th and 5th.
And results from event number 3, the Junior Varsity 200 freestyle. 5th place for Alfredi is Lyndon Blicker. 4th place for Alfredi is Amanda Rojas Lazaro. 3rd place for Centuries Mead. 2nd place for Century Jade Herring. And 1st place for the final time of 2:19.81 for Century Lexi Brands. Up next is the Junior Varsity 200 IM. Swimming in lane 2 for Century is Ella Wu. Lane 4 for Century is Liz Hubert. Lane 6 for Century is Stella Morris. And lane 8 for Century is Karina Bernstein.
So we're off with the girls 200 IM JV. As is the theme this evening, 3 of the 4 swimmers have not swam this before for this season, so they do not come in with a seat time. But the one person who does is leading us in lane 4, Layla Hubert. Very close behind. In lane 6 is Stella Morris, followed by Karina Bernas-Vado and Emma Wu. Layla being one of the seniors who's been on the team a number of years, so she's got a lot of experience with this event and is quite proficient in all the different strokes. So it looks like Stella may have gained just a little bit of ground on Layla as they head under the flags and get ready to make the turn into the breaststroke. The person who made up the most ground was up in lane 2, Emma Wu. So Emma's now in a little bit of a chase. The best event for Karina Bernas-Vado is the breaststroke. So we'll see if she can make up some ground on this 50. And indeed she has. We now have a 3-horse race. Layla, Stella, and Karina all very close now as they're going to go under the flags again and get ready to make the turn for that last 50 free. And it is going to be Karina leading it. She's got almost a full 1 second lead over both Stella and Layla. And we'll see who has a little bit left in the tank. Looks like the senior experience is going to be up against the youthfulness for Karina. It's Karina and Layla who put a little bit of distance between themselves and Stella. They're reaching as far as they can down the pool, trying to use every ounce of energy. And it is going to be Layla with a nice time drop of a 2:48. Karina also at 2:48, followed by Stella and Emma. And we're off with event number 6, girls 200-yard IM. Carly in lane 2 has not swam this before. Chloe and Addie come in with very close 226, 227s. And Amelia Troster comes in with a 240. Nice big lead for Chloe. Her strongest event is the butterfly, and she shows it. But Emily and Addie are also good butterflyers, and Carly's not really giving up a lot of ground either. So nice close start to this as they transition to the backstroke. Chloe looks like she's out to a pretty comfortable lead. Addie's not gained a lot of ground yet, so it looks like Chloe's going to be beating her entry time of the 226 pretty nicely. Emily has taken over third place from Carly as they move into the breaststroke. So it's Chloe with about a 4-second lead over her teammate, and Addie's got about a 3-second lead over Amelia, and Carly's making a bid back for third up in lane 2. Chloe still looks pretty comfortable leading it, but gaining some ground with a nice breaststroke here is Addie. Addie's gaining some ground, and she's going to be a lot closer than 3 seconds as they finish the touch of this 50 breast. So it's Addie who touches before Chloe, so it's going to be Chloe, though, who's got the really strong 50 free finish to jump right back into the lead. And that battle for third is still really close. Carly's now 2 seconds behind Emily as they go to the last 50. So Chloe flipped the switch when she got done with her least favorite stroke, the breaststroke. And she's now in cruise control and is going to finish 2 seconds ahead of her entry time, followed by Addie in a 2:29. And it was Carly with a strong finish up in lane 2 to get third.
Results for the number 5, the University 200 IM in third place, 4 centuries, Emma, second place, 4 centuries, Star Wars, first place with final time of 2:48.34, 4 centuries. Up next is event number 7, the Junior Varsity 53. There are 4 heats of the JV 53. Swimming heat number 1, lane 2, 4 century is Lillian Flyer. 4 century is Elizabeth Borham. Lane 6 4 century is Heidi Calvert, and lane 8 4 century is Mariana Kruger.
All right, and we're off with heat 1 of 4 for the girls 50-yard freestyle JV. In addition to a swimmer diving, we've got divers swimming. What an exciting feat. So Lily McGuire and Ariana Kruger, lanes 2 and 8, as divers are putting in their first entrant into the 50 free. And it looks like Lily, who was shot out of a cannon, she's leading this by a long ways. Look out, Lily might be having to do some swimming here. 31:28, nice time. And then Ariana Kruger, followed by Heidi and Elizabeth.
Heat number 2, swinging in lane 1, 4 centuries, Edwin Arnold Patterson. Lane 2, 4 centuries, Summer Walk. 3 4 centuries, Bobby Funk. 4 4 centuries, Adam Mead. 5 4 centuries, Graceland Gladys. 6 4 centuries, Matilda Hammer. 7 4 centuries, Sophia Schauber. And 8 4 centuries, Olivia Cornelius.
And we're off with heat 2. Again, this will be all century swimmers. And unlike the other events, all these girls will have swum at least 150. So they all have entry times, and they're all within 2 seconds. So we'll sit back and see who jumps out to a lead. It looks like lane 3, Bodie Funk, is neck and neck with lane 4, Kyla Mead. And up in lane 8, Olivia Cornelius, outside smoke, as she's going to challenge for the win in this second heat. And it's going to be Olivia with a 32.21, followed by Kyla, Bodie, Matilda, Summer, Brycelyn, Evelyn, and Sophia.
And heat 3, swimming in lane 1, 4 centuries Amelia Hanna, 2, 4 centuries Amelia Braun, 3, 4 centuries Cora Erickson, 4 for centuries Kenzie Craddock, 5 for century is Keith Chodoff, 6 for centuries Julie Wong, 7 for centuries Nora Kirch, and 8 for century is Josephine Parker.
And with heat 3, this is our final unscored heat of the JV 50. And entry times range from 28 to 30. And off with a nice start again is lane 3, Cora Eggerson. With a good turn, it looks like she's going to give way to lane 4 and Kenzie Craddock. And Kenzie looks awfully strong as she's going to finish with the victory here. We'll see, it's quite a battle for second, so it's going to be Kenzie, followed by Julia, Cora, Amelia, Keaton, Amelia, and Josie.
Swimming in lane 2 for centuries Ada Ekholm. Lane 3 for Albert Lee is Daniela Lazaro. 4 for century is Paige Pendleton. 5 for Albert Lee is Indiana Hansen. 6 for century is Katie Down. And 8 for century is Jade Krennic.
And we're off with heat 4 of the JV 53. And it looks like we got a battle in the middle of the pool. Paige Pendle and Katie Dow, they're going to flip together. Right close by is also Ada Ekholm and Jada Kronig. And it looks like Paige is going to maintain her lead. And it's going to be very close, but it's going to be Paige, Ada, Katie, Jada, followed by Indiana Hansen and Daniela Lazaro.
Results for event number 6, the varsity 200 IM. In 4th place for Albert Lee is Emily Foster. 5th place for Century is Curly Manley. 2nd place for Century is Abby Crom. And 1st place with final time of 2:24.77 for Century is Chloe Magnuson. Up next is event number 8. And event number 8 is the varsity 53. Swimming in lane 2 for Century is Kenzie Brockman. 3 for Albert Lee is Abby Larson. 4 for Century is Abby Poole. 5 for Albert Lee is Lily Palmer. 6 for Century is Julia Wagstaff. 7 for Albert Lee is Elizabeth Royal. And 8 for Century is Quinn Brown.
And we're off with the Splash and Dash 50 free. Pretty close race with 3 swimmers with an entry time of 26. And leading it is going to be lane 4, Allie Poole. Real close is Lily Elmer in lane 5 and lane 6, Delia Wagstaff, as well as lane 2, Kenzie Brockman. And it's going to be Kenzie over Delia, followed by Lily and Quinn. we will turn things over to my colleague, Brian Lucier, and he will take you through the diving portion of this evening's competition.
To make your way to this side so that it looks less like the divers are going to hit the board when they're doing reverses. If you don't know, this week is reverse week. That means that they go off.
All right, announcer Schwitz. This is Brian. I'm taking over from John as we get into diving. Our voluntary dive group, which means the group of dive that they have to do for this meet, is reverse, and that means every diver has to do a dive from the reverse dive group. It does not have to be the required reverse dive. It often is. I don't have their dive list yet. The only requirement is it can't score more than a 1.8 degree of difficulty. We often see it in the first round, so we shall see as we get the lists out. Reverse dive is when they approach going forward, as if they're doing a front dive, you'll see them tip backwards towards the water.
That is their voluntary, and it is going to be
Albert Lee does not have any divers, so we'll be watching just Century divers today, and we will get to see one of the Century swimmers, Sarah Homme, will be trying her hand at diving today, so we'll get to see how she does. She'll be diving in one of the JV slots. So as always, I will be going silent when the divers approach the board. We have an open booth here, and with an open booth, they can hear me speaking up here, and the divers request silence as they're kind of prepping their dive. With that in mind, after the dive is announced and the diver is ready to do their approach, the whole arena is asked to go silent. I will too. I'll do a small amount of commentating as they enter the water and the scores get announced. You'll see scores on screen. It'll get announced in the arena. And keep it moving at a pretty good clip. 6 divers on the list. Judges' scores are added together. They multiply by the degree of difficulty. Gets a total score for the dive. Add all 6 dives up, and you get a total score for the meet.
So first up, we have Nora Jensen doing the 52-11-8 back dive over half twist straight. On deck is Paige Converse.
Nora opens with the half twist. Nora's one of the exhibition divers. She does not have to do the voluntary required dive group. Nora kind of does this backward style where she kind of falls off the board. I hope over time she learns how to kind of use the board and jump. I'd like to see her do that more. It does cost her score, kind of that reach and fall approach. But that's often how you kind of learn. It's just some of the mechanics of the dive, and I suspect her coach is having her do that. And she learns how to complete the
Score of 14.40. Paige Connors is doing that 101C forward dive top. 1.2 on deck is Sarah Homme.
It's a really good takeoff. Her legs are kind of splayed a little bit. But on that forward dive tuck, what you're really practicing is like an approach on the board. Can she jump straight up? And she did. She got into a tuck and she speared the water. Would like to have her legs a little bit closer together. But she had a good takeoff. And that's it's a good initiation for every other dive in that position. So that's well done. For a swimmer, not too bad. That's our first required dive category. And she was leaning out a little bit above the board, and that comes from, she doesn't practice a whole lot, so her takeoff was a little farther out. Lily was also leaning forward a little bit. She had to kind of fight that one back. It's a beautiful looking pike in the air, but she did throw it a little bit further out than I'd like to see her do. She got the pike straight up in the air, but she push your legs forward a little bit, cause her to actually dive a little bit shorter than a little bit. Unfortunately, after from each direction. All right, good looking pike. Good looking entry there. No splash. She kind of entered well. It's got a rip entry. And she goes over and scores for it. Could be called a balk if the judges want to. I don't think they will. They often give grace to the exhibition divers.
Page numbers 102B, forward somersault, plank 1.5.
She easily completed the somersault and pike. I like how she popped out early and allowed her to sight the landing and spear it. And that should, score dive. Well controlled and awarded accordingly. So again, the dive is designed to see how well you control the board on takeoff. A little bit further out, and when she popped out of it, she kind of watched over as she sighted the water. It's a good looking tuck and a good looking pop out of the dive. Lily has a nice looking pike in the air, and when she popped out of the pike, she speared the water well, had a good rip entry. Maybe about 2 feet off the board further than she could have been, but other than that, it was a well done dive.
2C, reverse somersault, top 1.6.
All right, it's a good tuck. She was kind of fighting that. She shoulders above the board, and she kind of knew it, so she held onto the tuck as long as she possibly could. She did make it around and hit the water well, so it shows good control and good awareness. She threw it into that really well. She had really good rotation, and because of that, probably more than she usually gets, and over-rotated the ball. Throwing into it that hard, she needed to pop out earlier.
Round 3, Nora Jensen, dive 101A, forward dive straight 1.4.
So Nora was leaning way far out in front of the board when she took off. That caused that kind of Superman effect. You don't really want a Superman effect in diving, so hopefully over time she kind of learns how to jump up rather than out. Something I'm sure her coach will work on. Paige has got a really good initiation into the dive. I like how she reaches up. It just causes just a really good start to the dive and start to the somersault. It's a slow rotation, but it causes her to complete the dive easily.
Top 1.6.
All right, well done, Sarah. Again, she doesn't get a lot of repetitions in practice, but she completed that 1.5 easily and hit the water well. Well scored dive.
25.60. Lily McGuire, dive 101B, forward dive pipe 1.3.
All right, when she came on her pike, she arched her back just a little bit and caused her kind of legs to kind of swing over. It's a dive that you want to kind of steer the water straight in if you possibly can. She could actually score that really high if she didn't do that.
1.5 pipe 1.7.
A beautiful pike in the air. She was over a little bit. Saw the legs wash over. Ariana, when she gets just a little bit bigger, she's going to be able to get like a little bit higher bounce on the air, and that's going to help her. Looked really good in the air, though.
1B back dive pipe 1.6.
All right, so our pike was in almost exactly the right position. When she popped out of the pike, she pushed her legs actually towards the board a little bit. It caused it to kind of enter the water a little bit short. I'm being kind of nitpicky because it's a great looking dive otherwise. They're having some difficulty with the pad here, so.
Up next is now round 4. Laura Jensen, dive 401C, over dive top 1.4.
All right, so she started to lean backwards right as she took off, and it's hard to fight. After you start to lean backwards, she was able to complete the dive leaning forward, but overcompensated and then actually kind of over-rotated the dive.
Paige Connors, dive 5121D, forward somersault, half twist free 1.7.
That is such a hard dive to control. It's really hard not to overwash that dive. You have to really complete this, the twist early. She did. She actually was close to the board, and that helped. You can actually see her looking at the board, and actually really well done. Hard dive to actually.
Forward somersault, full twist free 1.9.
All right, that was better than I saw her warming it up, so that's good. The timing on the twist was a little bit off. You want to kind of twist as you're popping out of the say the free position. You kind of pop straight. And she started the twist a bit early, but really well done, especially since she doesn't get a lot of practice at it. All right, that was a really well done inward dive. She was a really good entry into the water. Completed the dive very early. Ripped the entry. You see the bubbles come up. Yeah, and scored well.
104C, forward double somersault
did not see her warm that up. That's amazing that she completed that. She was actually leaning forward, so she didn't get the height she normally gets, a little bit further off the board, but really good. She rotates really fast, so good awareness, and wasn't quite straight up and down. I've seen her do better, but showed really good awareness in the air to complete that. Well done. All right, so slightly under on the twist. You could see, I kind of saw her looking at me when she entered, rather than the board. It was still a completed dive, but short on the twist will cost her some points.
For Jensen, dive 101, B forward dive height 1.3.
It wasn't a pike, but we'll see what they do with that. Usually have to demonstrate a little bit of a pike.
H. Connors at 401 T forward dive top 1.4.
She was really worried about that in warm-ups for some reason. She must have hit a board or something like that, but she did the dive really well. She's got good reach, and she completes the dive easily. It was off the board a little bit further than it needed to be. Don't know. Judge 1 gave her only a 3.5. It was done better than that. I like how she posted her arms. You like to see that on back dives. Posted her arms out to the side like that. It shows like a flying position. It looks really good in the air, and it also helps you kind of rotate the hips around. It's a little bit underneath rotation, but it's a really good flying position in the air, and that's always awarded well.
Back somersault full twist 3, 1.9.
All right, she always has no problem with her twist. She just like, it's almost like you don't see it. But she completed her twist, and she didn't quite get her arms all the way down, and that sometimes costs her a little bit, but usually she gets them all the way down to her side. Also a little further off the board than she normally is.
2.2.
Another one I didn't see her warm up, but she just nailed it. So, it's really well done. It was a really good reach. She got her hips up and around and rotated it easily. Yeah, you can see her coach saying, wow, well done. 7 points from him, too. So, I thought she killed it. She's happy with it, too. You can see the smile.
Twists 3, 2.3.
Oh, that was a beautiful dive as well. She had a perfect distance from the board, and she whipped the twist around perfect in time, got her arms down, and speared the water. Thought it would actually score higher.
H. Connors at 202C, back somersault top 1.5.
All right, so when she was reaching out the board, her hips kind of slid behind her and caused her like to lean and then launch kind of at an angle instead of up. I'd like to see her go kind of up in the air and let the board throw her out. Yeah, and unfortunately, it's easy to make the somersault, but unfortunately, you want to see the launch position differently. All right, it's a good tuck position and a good entry position. Tried to get the rip entry there. Didn't quite hit it, but she had a straight up and down entry. So well done, Sarah. So she had a really good entry into the water. She was leaning a little off the board, causing her to go out a little further than she needed to be.
24.65. Ari Kruger, 52.21D. Back somersault half goes 3, 1.7.
So it's another dive that's super hard to control. It's like when you put that half twist in late like that, it's really easy to wash over like she did there. Happens quite a lot. What you want to do is actually twist a little sooner so you can sight the water. All right, that was a really well done inward somersault. She completed it early in the dive. Allowed her to kind of come out of it straight up and down, hands down to her side. Well scored, well executed. All right, Ariana did well. It was 171 score. I don't remember if that's her personal best, but it's close to it. It's well done. She might have got a 173 once, I think. So, and then Kate got second here, and then Lily got third. Sarah did pretty well with the 138, and kind of a fun meet for her. And she completed all her dives, and I thought they looked well. Well done. There will be a warm-up period here for the swimmers. John will be taking over announcing again, and we'll get to it. That is it for the diving.
Results. Once again, the pool is open for warm-ups. Results from the JV 53. For the JV 53 results, in fifth place for Elberly is Danielle Rodriguez. Fourth place for Elberly is Cynthia Hansen. Third place for Century is Cynthia. Second place for Century is Kenzie Kramer. And first place with the final time, 27:90, is Paige Kendall. The pool is open. Be first entries only. You can go in or swim. Results for the 53 varsity event rate. Fifth place for Elberly is Natalie Emerson. Fourth place for Elberly is Lily Palmer. Third place for Century is Jamie Langstone. Second for Century is Kinsey Bachman. First place for the 26-25 for Century's Ellie Poole.
with event number 11. Both 11 and 12 will not have. Oh, I'm sorry. There is one Albert Lee entrant in the varsity, but this is Century, lanes 2, 4, and 6. Varsity swimmers, all Kenzie Craddock, Giant Gingros, and Megan Hami, are not butterflyers typically, so they're all swimming it for the first time and swimming it against each other to see who can win this JV event. Early lead is going to go to Megan, but just barely over. Oh no, out-touched by Megan was Jayan. And with a little stronger underwaters, Jayan's going to come out in the lead, followed by Kenzie, who's just a little under a second behind. So they make the turn for home, thinking to themselves, gee, I might not have to swim this again this year, so baby, I better go fast. And looking nice and strong is Jayan in lane 4. She's going to take it. Kenzie's coming back a little bit on Megan, but it's still going to be Megan and then and we're off with event number 12, the 100-yard butterfly. If you look at the top entrance in the butterfly for Century, the only Century swimmer not entered here is going to be Chloe Magnuson. Otherwise, we've got a lot of the top butterflyers swimming, and Albert Lee's top butterflyer, Emily Troster, as well. So Sophie's out to a nice lead. She's going to touch in a 27.86. It's going to be a little bit off of her best time split, but still very nice swim. And we've got a nice race for third between Emily, Addie, and Amelia, as Delia takes a little bit of a lead in lane 2. And now they're going to turn for home. Sophie's going to take this in a little over a minute. And 59.06, a little under a minute. And it's going to be Delia holding off Addie, and then Emily and Amelia.
Next is the 100 freestyle for University. There are 3 heats of JV 100 swimming in heat 1 of 3, lane 2, 4 centuries, and lane 4 for centuries is John. Lane 6 for century is Brooke.
All right, we're off with heat number 1, and leading us is Sophia Schomburek, followed by Nana Michaels and Kareen Foley. order they started. Sophia, Nana, and Kareem. And leading it in the second heat of the girls JV 100 free is Amelia Hammer. She's followed out in lane 8 by Melina Milosevic. And then it's going to be Addie Taylor in third, followed by Keaton Shonoff. Amelia comes in with a 105.39. And she's going to have a pretty good chance of beating that. She's got to come back in 34. She's looking pretty strong. And she does it with a 104.73, followed by Mia, Addie, Keaton, and then Emma, Shay, Ariana, and Layla. Final heat of the 100 free. Top swimmer in this heat is going to be named for Lizzie Jensen. Lindsay comes in with a 60.42. This is her first year on the Century team. And a 60.42 is faster than probably the winning time in the Big 9 JV. So Lizzie is really pushing for one of those top spots in either the varsity Big 9 or varsity sectionals. If she can go under 60 seconds in a dual meet, that's going to make her case very strong indeed. Right behind her in lane 6 is Lexi Grenz, followed by Chloe Vesterby and Shannon Kim. Swimming for Albert Lee is London Blecker, Sophie Troster, and Alejandra de Rosas Lazardo. So we'll see where Lexi comes in. Not quite the same tempo as the first 50. But it's still going to be close. And yes, a 59.42. That's an under 60-second split for a JV. Pretty amazing. Lexi's going to finish second, followed by Chloe and Shannon. And we're off with event 14, ladies 100-yard freestyle. Off to a nice start in lane 6 is Kenzie Brockman. Right next to her and with a nice turn is Allie Poole. And Ada Ekholm, trailing slightly, Lily Elmer. She's really trying to get into that top 3 spot. The first Albert Lea swimmer of the evening to do that. She leads Ada by about a second going into the back half of this race. Allie, as a distance swimmer, loves to catch people on the backside, and it looks like she's done that again, taking over the lead from Kenzie. Going to be a nice battle between these two. They both swam 56-57 before. Looks like they're going to be in that neighborhood again. Yep, a 56 for Allie, 57 for Kenzie. And Lily is going to take that third place for Albert Lea in a nice 103.12.
Results for event number the results for event number 13 at the Junior Varsity 100 freestyle. In 5th place for Albert Lea is Alondra Rosas Lazaro. 4th place for Albert Lea is Sophie Trosser. 3rd place for Centuries Amelia Hammer. 2nd place for Centuries Alexa Kratz. And 1st place for final time of 59.42 for Centuries Jetson. There is no GBV 500 free. So results for the event that you just watched. In 5th place for Albert Lea is Lily Bell. 4th place for Centuries Anna Heckman. 3rd place for Albert Lea is Lily Elmer. 2nd place for Century is finishing first with a final time of 56.86 for Century's Allie Poole. Up next is the event number 16, the Varsity 500 free. Swimming in lane 2 for the Varsity 500 free is for Century's Josephine Hartfree. Lane 3 for Albert Lea is Lexi Lee. 4 for Century is Sophie Blitz. 5 for Albert Lea is Anna Larson. 6 for Century is Quinn Brown, and 8 for Century is Cora Erickson.
And we're up with the longest race of the evening, the girls' 500-yard freestyle. We've got 3 Century swimmers who have not swam this yet before. Josie Bargfried, Quinn Barone, and Cora Erickson. They're joined by senior captain Sophie Blix. Sophie comes in with a time of 5:30, in which she split pretty much the same split for every 50 other than the first one. So Sophie is out to a lead of about 1 second over teammates Quinn, then Cora, then Josie. And Lexi Lee and Amaya Larson are no strangers to this event either. They both swam this event at the end of the season last year, with Amaya getting 32nd at the Big 9 and 24th in the sections. They come in with seed times of a 6:33 and a 6:21. So last event when Sophie swam the 5:30, they were 33s all the way across the board, and that looks like the case again this evening. The split for Quinn's a 35, Amaya's a 36 along with Cora Erickson, and Josie's a little bit off that with a 37.01. So see how they settle in. The coaches are given the arms up signal, so nobody's being asked to go any faster. Hold that current pace and see how consistent we can be throughout this very long race. We hit the halfway point. Swimmers look pretty consistent. Sophie's still in a 33 split, followed by Quinn in a 36. Real nice battle between Amaya and Josie for third place, both in identical 304s. And then right behind them is Cora and Lexi. Sophie's picked up the pace just a tad with a 32.77. She might be able to improve upon that first race of a 5:30 if she keeps it up. And it looks like Josie's opened up just a little bit of lead for that third place over Amaya. And with 100 left, Sophie's in a 4:22. So she's going to beat that entry time of 5:30. We'll see where she ends up. Josie continues to extend her lead over Amaya, so we've got a little bit of separation all the way across the pool. And there's the bell lap, and with 50 to go, Sophie with about a 30-second lead over her teammate, Quinn, who's got about a 20-second lead over her teammate, Josie, followed closely by Amaya. So here comes Sophie into the finish. She's going to end up at around a 5:25. That's a nice time. The pool record is a 5:21. So just a little bit more attentiveness. That could have been within reach. But still a nice swim for a middle of the season meet. And that will wrap up the top four places. Quinn, Josie, and Amaya. And then we have Lexi and Cora. And we're off with the fastest of the relays, the 2-3 relay, JV. Swimming first for Century will be Amelia Hanna. She'll, to her right, will be teammate Karina Brenesvato. Up in lane 2 is Emma Wu, and lane 4 is Heidi Calvert. For Albert Lee, they have Daniela Lazaro. Swimming second for Centuries, A relay will be Stella Morris. She's going to be chased by Layla Huber, Matilda Hammer, and then Nana Michaels. Second swimmer for Albert Lee will be London Blecker. Now in the water for the A relay is Addie Taylor. Chasing her up in lane 2 is Olivia Cornelius, and in lane 6, Nora Cook. Rounding out the third swimmers is Century's Karina Froley and Albert Lee's Alondra de Rosas Lazaro. So we have the final swimmer in the A relay for Century in the water, Anna Milosevic. The B relay is taking a slight lead over the C, and that is now Keaton Shonoff against Shay Carroll. The last relay for Century will be anchored by Aria Burrow, and for Albert Lee, it will be Ava Bell. And we're off with the girls 203 varsity relay. Albert Lee's Emily Troster is neck and neck with Century's Allie Poole and Addie Crom as they make the turn at the first length. Really nice fast turn by Allie, puts her out in front, so it's going to be Century, Albert Lee, Century for 1, 2, 3 as we hit the second leg of this event. Sarah Hamies now matched up against Lexi Lee and Delia Wagstaff. Also swimming second legs are Katie Dow, Olivia Bell, and Kenzie Craddock. So out to a comfortable lead after an excellent round of diving by Sarah Hamies. She's going to have a 6:19 split as she gives way to Carly Maley. And it looks like second place has now been taken over by Century. And now swimming for Century will be Lexi Grentz. She'll be chased by Lily Elmer. And then Century's Jada Kronig, Josie Barkfried, followed by Albert Lee's Indiana Hansen. anchor. Century's anchor is going to be Chloe Magnuson, top seeded 53er. So cruise control for her. Nice battle for second though, as Lily Elmer made up some time, about 2 seconds. And now it's going to be Amaya Larson chasing Lizzie Jensen. We also have Hattie Larson, Diane Gingros, and Julia Wang swimming the anchor legs. And with a winning time of 1:44.45, it's going to be Century, and then Albert Lee to round out this 2 free relay. With event 19, JV 100-yard backstroke. Megan Hami is swimming this event for the first time. In lane 2, and then we have Paige Pendle, lane 4, Chloe Vesterby, lane 6, and Mia Velocevic, lane 8. And it looks like the first to the wall is going to be Paige Pendle. Very close behind is Megan and Chloe. And Mia is still going to be within about 2 seconds as they hit the wall for the first 50. So with a nice turn, Megan has taken over the lead of this race with 25 to go. We'll see who has a little bit more kick. Kick is so important, as well as tempo. Not a lot of underwaters from these swimmers. And it is going to be Megan in lane 2 who's going to win this in a 1:12. Then Paige, Chloe, and Mia.
Results from event number 18, the varsity 200 relay. Finishing third, Albert Lee second, Century first place with a time of 1:44.45. Rule, Hami, Maddie, and Magnuson for Century. Now it is event number 20, the varsity 100 backstroke.
Lane 2, yeah.
Swimming in lane 2 for Century, Sarah Hami. In lane 4 for Century is Chloe Magnuson. And lane 6 for Century's Carter Manning.
And we're off with the girls' 100-yard backstroke. All 3 entrants have not swam this event yet this year. Top event for Sarah would be the 100 breast. For Chloe, it would be either the 50 free or the 100 fly. And for Carly, it would either be the 50 or the 100 free. So not a lot of chances with those being your best events to swim 100 back. And like she did in the IM, Chloe's starting out pretty fast. But Sarah's right there as well. They flip together 1/10 of a second apart. And it looks like it's going to be Chloe and Sarah battling for the win. Again, they flip together to that last wall, so it's really anybody's race in this last 25. Sarah looks like she's reaching a little further down the pool, which usually is a pretty good sign because it usually can come down to the touch. And oh, it was Chloe with a nice little flutter at the end, out touching Sarah for a 108.07. And Carly finishes with a 115.
Results for event number 19, Junior Varsity Home for Maxborough. Finish in third place for Century Chloe Westerby, second place for Century Paige Matlock, first place with a final time of 112.15 for Century's Megan Conley. Up next is the JV1 breaststroke. Swimming in lane 2 for Century is Julie Wong. Lane 3 for Albert Lee is Ava Bell. 4 for Century is Addie Taylor. 5 for Albert Lee is Sophie Trosker. 6 for Century is Mariana Burgo. 7 for Albert Lee is Elizabeth Toro. And 8 for Century is Evelyn Arnold Patterson.
And we're off with event 21, girls 100-yard breaststroke JV. Several Century swimmers without an entry time. So again, a good opportunity to see what you can do in an event that may not be your strongest. And looking good and out to an early lead is one of those swimmers, junior Julie Wang. Still leading is Julia, followed by Addie, Ari Bureau, and Evelyn Arnold Patterson. And Julia continues to lead and is going to finish in a nice 126. Again, not a lot of pad touches for lane 2, so we're going to have to relay that. Her time was better than a 128. She's going to be followed by Addie, Ariana, and Evelyn.
Results for event number 20, University Home Maxborough. Finishing in third place for Century Spindler Bailey, second place for Century Sarah, and first place for Time of Broadway.
Even?
That was event number 22, the Varsity Home Breaststroke. Swimming in 2 for Century's Stella Morris, 4 for Century's Lizzie Jensen, 6 for Century's Katie Bell, and 8 for Century's Kevin Bozeman.
And we're off with the 100-yard varsity breaststroke. This is the first varsity entrant for any of these swimmers. So it'll be up to Stella, Lizzie, and Katie to see who gets the points. And Anna could steal their thunder if, as the exhibition entrant, she were to beat any of the other 3. And out to that early lead is lane 4, Lizzie Jensen. Again, entry time of a 120. It's good enough for a 16 time in the Big 9 right now. So Lizzie continues to make a strong case to be one of the season-end swimmers. Also in a good split is the 39 for Anna Milosevic. And very closely behind is Stella Morris and Down to 31, 32. Lizzie's entry time is 1:20. Stella 1:28. Katie 1:26. Looks like Anna's going to be somewhere between that 1:20 and the 1:26. And it's going to be Lizzie beating her previous time with a 1:19, followed by Anna, and then Stella and Katie. And we're off with the last event for the Forals 400-yard free JV. Lane 4, top relay for Century is going to be Amelia Hanna, then Karina Brenes-Vado, Matilda Hammer, and Elizabeth Morcom. These racers are racing their teammates and they're also racing the clock. Their best times are what's going to decide what they swim. For these swimmers in the JV, the Big Nine JV, that is the last end of the year swim, and it's now less than a month away. Very short season. We start in August and we wrap up at the end of October with the state tournament in mid-November. So Amelia's going to lead it. She's going to get off to teammate Mia Milosevic. Marina's going to go to Olivia Cornelius, and Tilda's going to go to Brycelyn Gladys. Second swimmer for Albert Lee will be London Blecker. Still between Olivia and Brycelyn. Lane 6 and 2. Mia continues to set the pace. And she's going to turn over a comfortable lead to her teammate Nora. And Nora Crick will be swimming the third relay leg. Third swimmer in lane 6 now is Kyla Mead. And third swimmer in lane 2 is Sophia Shambaresa. Third swimmer for Albert Lee will be Ava Bell. come down to the anchor leg. That anchor is going to be Emma Wu. And she's going to have about a 15-second lead over the B Relay's Bodie Funk. Next up for the C Relay is going to be Bryson and Gladys. And for the D Relay, it's Nana Michaels. Sitting third is still Ava Bell. And finally for Albert Lee, it's Sophia Traster. There's the finish. And Emma is going to finish in a 4:28. Sophia Traster finishes up in 5:45. And then we will have Heidi Calvert. And we're off. Last event of the evening, 400-yard freestyle. We saw some of the best swimmers for Albert Lee in the first two relays. So it's going to be up to the underclassmen, starting with Amaya Larson. For Albert Lee, for Century, leading off is Diane Gingros, Megan Hami, Amelia Braun, and Chloe Vesterby. right, we have the second swimmer in the water now. Century's A relays Kenzie Brockman. B is Paige Pendle. And in the middle of the pool, lane 5, Lexi Lee. Up in lane 2 is Shannon Kim. Down in lane 8 is Cora Erickson. Kenzie's going to split a 27 to start. A little bit faster than her teammate, Joanne. And 29 for Paige Pendle means that we've got more of a race for third between Lexi and Shannon Kim. After a 58 split, we're now seeing Addie Karam for the A relay, Ada Ekholm for the B relay, and Amelia Hammer for the C relay. Countering for Albert Lee is Olivia Bell. And Amelia and Olivia are going to have a nice battle here for third. So the first split for Addie will be a 30. Her teammate is going to come in, Ada, with about a 30.5, so really close. In that battle for third, Amelia maintains a slight lead over Olivia. Rounding out the third swimmers in the water in lane 8 is Jada Koenig. So there's the last swimmer in the water. Anchoring is senior captain Sophie Blixt. Chasing her in lane 6 is going to be Quinn Barone. Lane 2, Lexi Greenens. And lane 4, Hattie Larson. Last swimmer for Century's D relay is going to be not Maggie Huber. It looks like, I'm not quite sure, maybe Amelia Hanna. So at the 26-52 split, looks like about a 54-55 for Sophie to wrap up this win. A nice 30-15 for Lexi as she's chasing Quinn now and has opened up a nice lead over Hattie. There's the finish for Sophie. 56 for that split. And that will conclude our racing for the evening, with Century sweeping the top 3 places in this final relay. Next up for Century, they will be hosting Winona for their last dual meet of the season next Thursday. That will be the final meet and will recognize a very large group of seniors who will be swimming their last meet in their home pool. Albert Lee next hosts Owatonna. Hope you keep watching, and the team you watch will keep swimming.
And the results. Third place, Alvin. Second place, Century.